You're listening to the Travis Makes Money podcast presented by GoHighLevel.com. For a free 30-day trial of the best all-in-one digital marketing software tool on the planet, just go to GoHighLevel.com/Travis. What's going on, money makers? Welcome back to the Travis Makes Money podcast, where it's our mission to help you make more money. If you're new to the show, we release brand new conversations just like this one with unconventional money makers 7 days a week. So if you haven't yet, please be sure to go to your podcast app of choice, hit that follow, subscribe button so you don't miss any opportunities to learn how to make more money. And while you're there, if you want to, just leave us a quick rating and review, as it does help out the show tremendously. Today on the show, we're going to be talking about fitness with my new friend, Devan Gonzalez. Devan is a mindset-driven entrepreneur, CEO of Strive 11 Fitness, host of the Mindset Cafe podcast, and best-selling author of Money, Muscle, Mindset, the Underground Playbook for aspiring gym owners. As a fitness industry leader and franchise visionary, Devan has built Strive 11 Fitness into a thriving brand, helping aspiring gym owners turn their passion into profitable businesses. His journey is a testament to resilience, innovation, and the power of mindset, inspiring countless entrepreneurs to break through barriers and achieve lasting success. Devan, what's up, dude? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, it's a true honor.
Tell me right off the bat here, bro. Tell me how you made your first dollar ever.
I mean, my first dollar ever, I think, was actually back in high school selling, branded t-shirts. I saw another local company, a couple of kids that started up this t-shirt company. I thought it was so cool seeing their shirt around town and school. So I, reached out to a print shop and made nitrous apparel. I didn't even drive at the time. I think I was like 14, but Fast and the Furious came out and I was like, that's so cool, and started selling shirts. I mean, it lasted probably a year and a half, but that was my first real dive into entrepreneurship.
Where do you think that came from? Is this something your parents instilled in you, or were you always just trying to make a buck?
No, what's crazy is actually my parents were W-2 workers, and there's nothing wrong with that. But, they had conventional jobs and careers. And I always just thought it was interesting that people could start a business and, have this upside to it, not knowing all the, back end and legwork that goes into it. But I was just always intrigued by, entrepreneurship.
Tell me how you made your most recent dollar now.
So now, with opening a gym and launching the franchise side of it, we're expanding. Essentially, we have a location in Dallas and now a location in Tampa, Florida as well. And we're based out of Los Angeles. So the most recent, dollar essentially is coming from the franchise side.
Nice. So how many locations total?
There's 3 locations as of today.
Nice, man. Good for you. That's great. So you started with your own location and then you opted into franchising as a way to scale rather than through corporate. Tell me about that decision process. What made you opt for that route?
So we are actually we're still growing both sides. Like we are going to be growing the corporate side as well as the franchise side. But I do have a business partner who is actually one of my clients, when I was personal training. So that was the step before opening the gym. And me and him launched the business. He didn't really have any entrepreneurial skills, so we learned everything together. I taught him a lot of stuff that I knew from being a solopreneur. But then it was like, okay, the business has made enough money to either reinvest into a second location or to launch the franchise side. And knowing that I wanted to be able to give my full attention to the foundational franchisees, especially, it was the decision that we decided to go franchise route versus opening our second location, which I knew was going to kind of split my time as needed.
Tell me about the upsides, downsides of the fitness industry. If somebody's listening to this and they're like, man, I have this hobby that is going to the gym or going for runs or helping people with their nutrition or whatever. And I've always thought about turning it into some income, but I hear that it's really saturated, or I hear it's really difficult to start into this space, or I hear that gym owners have, they struggle getting customers in the door. What are some of the upsides, downsides for somebody that's kind of looking to make a decision like that?
So the downsides is it is saturated, right? But that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. There's an ever-growing market for it. It just comes down to the negative side is people don't know how to niche down, right? And so even when I was personal training, I mean, I had clients that were signing up on a wait list, essentially, that I was already doing 16-hour days of personal training, like not even online, just in person. So, I mean, there's obviously an ability to do it. They say it's hard making 6 figures as a personal trainer. I could tell you, having no online presence, I did 6 figures and it was easy,
Mm.
but it really comes down to being able to adapt as a trainer. If you only want powerlifting clients or you only want, bodybuilding clients, well, now if you haven't established a baseline of clientele, like you're starting off, you know, struggling against all the other top, trainers. So if you broaden out in the beginning, create a baseline, and then you can start niching down and start trying to get more of the client that you want, but at least you need to have a baseline of revenue.
Yeah, I love the idea of starting off in a field with something that's really low risk, like that, like low barrier to entry, low risk. In fitness is a great example because you don't have to start out buying a gym franchise.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to start out dropping $250,000 investing into a brick and mortar business. You can join a variety of gyms as a trainer and operate basically kind of come and go as you please. Like you said, it's solopreneurship. Essentially, you are responsible for your own client base to sell people into the services that you have versus them using a different personal trainer that the gym contracts with. But it'll allow you to get a taste of the field and get an idea of whether or not this is going to be something that you enjoy doing. So that's the whole thing, man. It's like starting any business is difficult. Starting any venture is difficult. Creating extraordinary income for yourself is difficult. It's simple, but it's not easy. So if you don't have some sort of desire, some sort of inner purpose or reason that's attached to why you're doing this thing, man, the first sign of an obstacle pops up, you're done. You're just gonna quit and you're gonna go do something different. You know what I mean? So I love that the fitness space specifically, you can just kind of start with whatever you want to start with, even if it's just like, oh, I sell supplements for a different company, but I really like their supplements. So I just send traffic from videos I make online to other people's offers and I make some money doing that. It's like you don't have to dive headfirst into the deep end when you're getting started in these things.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that it's one of those jobs, especially let's say you want to become a personal trainer. It's a job that you can do on the side until it makes more money and it makes more sense for you to fully transition. Um, and that's the nice thing about it, right? But I will say that you have to have that differentiating factor about you, right? Even being a gym owner, I see so many trainers that want to open in their own gym. I mean, it's pretty much every trainer's goal when they first become a trainer. I want to have my own gym, and it's like, okay, cool. What's going to be different about your gym versus the other, 1,000 that are in the valley? And then they don't really have a separating factor, right? So they saw someone else can do it and they want to just copy and paste the model.
Yeah.
And if that's all you're doing, then now you're going to be, going upstream on this journey because, they're going to be able to outdo you in marketing, outdo you in price negotiations, all those kind of things because you're just starting out.
What is the biggest financial risk that you've ever taken?
Um, I mean, I would say opening the gym was the first big financial risk. I mean, because going from a six-figure personal trainer to opening a gym, I couldn't really train my clients while opening a gym, right? So I had to go from basically full income to no income while the gym was opening. Um, and then that kind of doubled down on the franchise side because launching our franchise was more expensive than actually opening one of our locations, right? So, and that was something that I didn't know. That's something you don't know until you're in it, right?
Yeah, right.
And obviously that you can open a franchise for, a lot cheaper, but we hired an advisor who had launched his own franchise, grew to 400 locations and so forth. So I really valued the, condensing timelines to success. And so through everything, it costed us, over six figures to launch our franchise. And it was like, wow, if we don't sell a franchise, like this is a big bet.
Yeah. Well, at least you get a write off out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much meat is on the bone for a gym owner? Like how much money can somebody expect to reasonably make if they're willing to put in the work?
I would say the definition of a gym owner is kind of broad, because you have your CrossFit gyms, you have your, even our gyms, then you have boot camps, you have corporate gyms and so forth. Each one has its own profit margins depending on staffing, but if your gym isn't bare minimum hitting 20%, then you're doing something wrong. And that's like, that's aggressive already, right? But you got to think, even for our model, the way we designed it out was that you have your expenses at a certain threshold And then after that, we can acquire new members without needing to hire more trainers, hire more staff or anything. So the revenue can continue to grow where the expenses kind of cap out.
Interesting. Is that like a because it's like a group training type model, or what makes it that way?
So our model at Strive 11 Fitness essentially is a boot camp style model, but we have no class times, right? So similar to a lot of the boot camps, where you come in at 6 a.m., you come in at 5 a.m., whatever, and everyone starts together, everyone finishes together. You're capped on how many people can come in that given time. Since we have no class times, people can come in every couple minutes. They're starting, people are finishing. So in a given hour in a 2,000 square foot, location, you could have 88 people in a given hour, every hour.
Interesting. Okay, got it. Got it. So what was that like the differentiator for you when you first opened the gym, or did you just try a bunch of different models until something worked?
No, I mean, that was so when I was personal training, I was trying this model out with some of my clients just to see how it kind of worked. And then actually, funny enough, COVID was almost like a blessing to us because for a year, while everything was locked down, we were running this model in the park and we're like, okay, well, we have endless space here. If we can't get this model to work with all this space, there's no way we're going to get it within, 2,000, 3,000 square feet.
Mm.
And so we tested it, we tried it, we had to change some things up. But since, I mean, the 11 from the 11, Strive 11 comes from the 11 stations, right? So all the 11 stations are on a singular timer for the room. Everyone's rotating together. Everyone's, continuing the movement. So no one's waiting on you to finish your set and so forth. So it's just a constant flow of workout. And so that was the big thing was my clients when I was personal training, they would go to these boot camps, they would go to these group sessions in between our personal training sessions because obviously it's not super affordable to do personal training 7 days a week. And then they would come back over the years with different complaints that the class times didn't line up with their schedule, that they couldn't make it for X reason, and then they got an extra surcharge, for not showing up and so forth. And I was like, it's crazy that I'm getting complaints from all these different boot camps and no one's solving this one core problem. And
Mm.
so then it was like, is it not solvable or just no one's really tried because these models work? So someone else just copied and pasted it, different color scheme and logo, but same model, right? And so
Yeah.
testing it, trying it, and we made it work.
What were some of the skill sets that you had to learn moving from being a personal trainer to being a gym owner?
I would say managing a team and being in analyzing that you can't be the bottleneck, right? Because a lot of times, even when it was just me and my business partner, we bootstrapped it in the very beginning, and it was just us two for the first like 3 months. And I would just take over and do things and not explain them or teach them because it took me, let's say, 5 minutes to do it, where it would take me 10 or 15 minutes to show him and so forth, and realizing that's not the way to go about it because now you have to wear all the hats instead of delegating some of the hats off to other people who probably are going to do it better than you over time, right? Because you're multitasking so many different things. So that was number one, was really learning how to let your team grow, right? And then the second one was being adaptable. Things as an entrepreneur, especially, things change. You hit obstacles, everything might be working today, but tomorrow or in a month, it doesn't. You have to be adaptable with the times. You have to be adaptable with the situations and know that it's still okay.
What about like marketing or offer packaging, things like that?
A lot of those things, we did a lot of research. I mean, we did hire some marketing companies and so forth. And I mean, I've always been one of those entrepreneurs that if I get interested in something, I mean, this comes down to like my ADD, but I get like hyper focused on something if I get, interested in it. And so I've read books, textbooks, and so forth on marketing. And then it came to us hiring marketing companies. And I was like, look, you guys are using a lot of terminology. I know what the terminology means. If you guys don't do that, then we're going to have a problem. And 9 times out of 10, they used the terminology but didn't, go forth with it. And it was like, okay, guys, like we're going to do this internally. So now we have an internal team that does our marketing for not just our location, but for the franchise system as well.
Yeah, tell me about your offer structure. From what I understand, I don't know a lot about this space, but probably no more than the average person does, just with the people that I've talked to on the show. For a lot of gyms, the reason why, especially these kind of small box gyms, can't figure out the profitability piece is they're selling the same way that big box gyms are selling, You
Hmm.
know, like they got the $50 a month, the $90 a month, the $60 a month type model. It's like, well, the reason that this works for these big box gyms is because they can support a membership of 15,000 people, 80% of
Hmm.
which will never use the gym at all. And they have a lot more money in the bank to be able to acquire that foot traffic to then make money on the recurring subscription in 2.5 years from now when their memberships, at least to 80% capacity or something like that. But for these small box gym owners, it's like, man, if you're bootstrapped and you don't have a lot of money in the bank, like you're never going to see that day. You're going to run out of money before you start making any money unless you change up the way that you structure your offer and sell people when they walk into the door. So tell me a little bit about your offer structure and packaging.
No, yeah, I think you're exactly right on that. I see so many times that, other gym owners are trying to be, copy and paste, they're doing $40 a month. I'm gonna do $40 a month. Obviously, that's the price structure that works. Well, it's like not necessarily, right? You have to know what your gym is. Like for us, like we don't do $40 a month. I think our cheapest membership is like $130 a month and upwards of $170 a month, which is cheaper than some of our competitors, but it's more expensive than the big box gyms,
Then Planet
right?
Fitness. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Right. And so when someone comes in and tries to compare us to Planet Fitness, it's like, look, I completely get it. And if that's what you're looking for, by all means, they're your fit.
They're right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But, and we actually have another competitor in the next parking structure or whatever, Anytime Fitness. And we have some of their members and some of our members, their members. And it's like they have a certain aspect in gym model. We have a different part. I was like, are you going to go over there and hire a personal trainer? And they're like, well, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so that $40 a month plus the rate of the personal trainer, what are you at? Right now, you're at around $540 a month, right? And I was like, or you could sign up for this, and now you're at $130 plus that. So now we're at 270 ish, right? And now you don't need to hire a personal trainer. So now you can use the combination of the gyms. And
Yeah.
people are like, oh man, that actually makes a lot of sense. So it's like, I don't view big box gyms as our competition. It's almost like an aid to what we're doing,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. Like you can take some of the things that we're teaching you, and in your free time when we don't have a class schedule, or what, like when if you're coming in at any time, like we're not going to be open at 2 a.m.
Hmm.
you know, but
Exactly.
if you want to go get a pump in, like go use the other gym, but use the technique that our trainer taught you.
Hmm. So I mean, the pricing structure is it for us started. You have to know what you are and what value you bring to the market, right? So for us, it was the exclusivity. It was getting basically a personal trainer style workout. So the 11 stations are all modified to each person. If you have a limitation or you have an injury and you can't do an exercise, it gets modified for you on the spot, right? So having that personal trainer aspect to it, now you're getting to save on hiring a personal trainer. But we're not, you can't just come in and do whatever you want in our facility either. So if that's what you're looking for, like let's say it's glutes day in here and you don't want to hit glutes, well, then that other gym membership's going to be perfect for you on the days you don't want to come.
Sure. If you were starting all over right now, Devin, would gyms, personal training, fitness, and things like that still be the path that you would want to take?
Definitely. I mean, it wasn't even my original path, which was the craziest part. Sometimes your path just kind of finds you. And when I was in college, I was a business management major, and I was a personal trainer at a big box gym, corporate gym, and I thought it was the perfect college job essentially, and because I could make my own schedule. But what I soon learned was that my clients seeing their results and seeing their success, like that was filling my cup. So even though I was exhausted from all nighters of studying and all, like I looked forward to going to work, right? And so for me, I was like, man, wait, there's a whole degree on this. And so I switched my major from business to kinesiology, and I was like, this is way more fun. But then even in college, my parents like, you need to get a real job. And so I was I was going the firefighter route, and I had already started my career as a personal trainer, and I was like, I had that decision. I was like, keep going with the firefighter, quit being a personal trainer and become an EMT. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, so then I dove into personal training even more and going from corporate gym to private gym to owning my own personal training company, gym owner, and now franchise owner.
Along the way, entrepreneurship can be glorified online a lot,
Hmm.
but there's always obstacles that pop up and things that you have to learn to solve, and keep a level head during those times. What have been a couple of the downsides for you? What have been a couple of the valleys since you dove into entrepreneurship?
I will say two parts to the same obstacle, right? Let's say you don't have a family yet and you're single, right? And you're living the life, that most people start off with, is you're not going to have the social life that you think you're going to have becoming an entrepreneur, right? You're trading a 9 to 5 for a 24/7. And when people think, well, I read 4 hour work week and stuff, and I was like, it doesn't, that's not how the world works. Like you could build up to that for sure, but that's not how the game starts. And if you think so, if you think that's how it's going to start, you're already shooting yourself in the foot because other people that are willing to put in the work are going to outwork you. And so with that though, you have to be careful because let's say you get a girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, you need to make sure that you're separating your time or you're delegating time to those that you want to spend time with. Otherwise, you will separate yourself from everyone. And then even more so now, like I'm a dad, have a 3-year-old and we have one on the way. It's like you have to make sure that you're not just building this for your family, but you're building this for your family and you still need to be there for your family as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't build it for your family while at the same time sacrificing all of your time being away from your family. It's like,
Exactly.
honestly, man, the more I thought about it, the more I think that some people use that as their like contribution marker is that they're, well, I'm doing this for the family, I'm doing this for the family, and it's like you keep telling yourself this over and over again, but in reality I think you're really doing it for yourself.
Mhm.
And you're using the family as the excuse as to why you don't have any time to spend with your family. It's like at the end of the day, man, your kids just need your time. They need your
Yep.
presence. They don't just need your money,
Oh,
and
100%.
yeah, you can get lost in that um, chase really,
Yeah.
really quickly.
I would say even like with that, I think it's so true because like my 3-year-old, all she wants to do is spend time with me. When I'm home, it's like, and that's the thing too, is like when you're home, don't be on your phone because people text you, people call you, your phone is your work still, and dedicate that time. From all they care about is just spending time with you. They don't care how much money you have and how big the business is and so forth. But in the 5 love languages, where does it say one of the love languages, your work contribution?
Yeah, right.
You know,
It's not there.
exactly.
Not the version I read anyway. Maybe
Neither.
maybe there's like some sort of alpha bro version that we're not taking a look at, bro. Devin, thanks for coming on the show today, bro. I'm love what you got going on. Congrats on the success of Strive 11 so far. Wish you guys all the success continued moving into the future. Let's move into the last segment rather. Just some quick random questions, quick random answers. You ready?
Hmm.
What profession other than your own do you think that it'd be fun to master?
Oof. Um, Dang. I guess medical.
Flex and fail. Give me a purchase that you've made that you regret making and one that you made that you're happy you made.
I will say my Dodge Challenger when I was just around, being an entrepreneur, didn't need it, and it definitely got me into more trouble than I needed when I was younger. Um, and then what was the second part of that?
The flex, a purchase you made that you're proud of.
Oh, the Flex. I mean, I think honestly, anything that I purchased that is relating to, my daughter or my family is really the Flex.
If you could sit on a park bench with someone, past or present, and chat for an hour, who'd it be?
Ooh. Um, I would say Albert Einstein just to see where his thought process and his creativity and stuff would come from.
How do you like to consume information best? Books, audiobooks, blogs, podcasts, YouTube videos, newsletters?
I would say a mix between audiobooks and YouTube videos.
Is there an audiobook that you'd recommend to the audience?
I would say The Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko Willings. It's a great book, and especially the audio version. It's one of those ones where it goes back between business and military, his war times and stuff. But it was honestly the real eye opener for me that I needed for becoming a business owner.
What is your go-to pump-up song, Devin?
Time Today by Moneybag Yo.
What is something you are not very good at?
Honestly, opening up.
I mean, yeah, that's another thing that maybe the alphas are getting wrong right now for sure. Where can people go as we get everything wrapped up here to get more from you, Devin?
I mean, you can go to my website. It's pretty much just a landing site for all my stuff, but it's just devangonzalez.com.
DevanGonzalez.com. That's Devan, Devan Gonzalez, DevanGonzalez.com. Go check out some of the stuff that Devan's putting out. If you are curious about the fitness space or franchising the fitness space, Strive 11 Fitness is now doing that. So go check out some of the stuff that they have going on. Maybe go visit one of their locations, get a workout in. Devan, thanks so much for doing this. Everybody else listening, remember, money only solves your money problems, but it's a little bit easier to solve the rest of your problems if you got some money in the bank. So let's solve that problem first here on the Travis Makes Money podcast. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Catch you next time. Peace out.